I'm Robert Evans. I've been part of the Impeccable Man Master Class for about 9 months, maybe a little bit more. And all I can really say is it's been one of the most fantastic journeys that I've been through emotionally to this point. And basically, what drew me to the course was a constant. I kept feeling like I just did not have fulfillment in my life. I gave up too easily. I had confidence issues. Um, I couldn't talk positively to myself. I found myself just being so negative all the time, and I was getting tired of it, and I didn't know what to do. I tried counseling, which helped a little bit, but it was just inconsistent. It was um, just not didn't motivate me. And then I got this opportunity, and the moment that it was offered to me was in a moment in my life where I truly stood up to myself and said, I'm done. I'm done with this negativity. And the energies that I brought out brought this class to me. And um, the journey was tough and exciting at the same time. Um, the three core practices have become an anchor point in my life. Every day I do them. They have been a focal point of my day and my weeks and the accomplishments that I've done. The emotional journey I've been on has made me face so many traumas, so many things that I've allowed to anchor me down and control me and get past them so they no longer have that weight or power over me. And the journey isn't easy. It is still to this day, you're always working. You're always working. But now I have the tool sets to be able to just step back and work through it. It was difficult. It makes you really face the darker parts of your past and gives you the tools to overcome them and give you closure to them. And it's been able to help me climb to such heights mentally that I feel so confident these days that I'm starting to pursue the things in my life I've always wanted to. And I've even able to do goals that I've never thought I would be able to do, like writing my first novel, running another marathon, to push myself to a point of time with that marathon that it's going to be awesome. And even to the point of finding my father, who I never met, and overcoming so many boundaries with that. I struggled so hard with work and being positive, and it's helped me get to a point where I know I'm worth so much more. It's so sometimes it's really hard to really encapsulate everything you've been through. Like, I've gone back to some of the recorded coaching call messages, and you just sit there and you look back and you're like, wow, like, wow, like you're just blown away at how much growth that one person could go through. And not just for me, but for everyone in the calls. Like, it's absolutely phenomenal, and it's true. Like, in anything like I've ever done, like, I always use the analogies of a marathon. Like, you just don't wake up one morning and run a marathon. Like, you have to put in the work. And the thing with running a marathon is it's not easy training. It's grueling. Like, you wake up and you got to go run out in -30 weather. You got to go out and run in the rain and snow. And the course is a lot like that. Like, you got to face those traumas that you've avoided your whole life. You got to face that time you were bullied. You got to face that time that you were ridiculed, or you were embarrassed, or you were rejected. Like, you have to really face it and look at yourself and realize that it doesn't control you. It doesn't have power over you. And at first you look at it and you're like, but it does. And then you start realizing, wait, no, it doesn't. And you're like, oh, it never had power over me. And there's almost a point of like a bittersweetness where you kind of have that moment of like clarity and this eureka moment. And you're like, oh my goodness, like, I could have done this a long time ago. But there's no regrets, like I am who I am through all these traumas and experiences and negativities. Like I wouldn't be where I am. And it would be nice to think if I did it sooner, but you know what? You can't turn back the clock. And now I have so much time ahead of me to accomplish everything with such clarity and power. This course has basically given me every outlet I needed and tool to battle it, to overcome it, to be one with it, and basically give me such fulfillment that I've never felt before. And it was one of the hardest journeys I've ever done, but the most rewarding. I think the biggest breakthrough I had was in week 3. It was this digging deeper practice, and it made me pushed me to face a past trauma. And at this point, I didn't know really, I was struggling with the emotional connectivity at that point, and some of the practices that I went into it kind of skeptical with myself. Of course, that's the self-doubt, but I went into it and I remembered this point where my stepfather was emotionally belittling me badly. Basically, he said to me I was a spoiled, ambitionless child that would never amount to anything. And a point in my life where I was already severely depressed. And that practice was the single most relevant moment in this, where it made me realize I had hope, because I relived that moment, and I faced that pain, and I cried and I cried, and it was cleansing. It was so emotionally and I remember just bawling, ugly crying. And then at one point it just stopped. And it wasn't like me forcing myself to stop to say, okay, don't cry anymore. It was just like it was done. It was just the energy left me. And I just sat there breathing and looking around my room alone. And I was just like, well, that was intense. And it never made me realize at that moment, when that actually happened to me in my life, how I never dealt with it emotionally. I legitimately remember after that argument, I went and I drank by myself in a bar. I puked on the busway on the way home, and the next day I moved in with my friend and his family, and I never cried about it. I never dealt with it. And I let that negativity sit with me for so long that it was pretty much one of the many precursors to the depression and the self-talk. And that was a moment where I realized that this had something just so amazing that I had to keep going. I had to finish. And to this day, the 3 core practices I do every day: self-care, somatic scan, and introspective integration have changed my life. I am constantly productive. And when I do relax, I feel like it's a reward, not a punishment, like not a way of just dealing with things by doing nothing. It was just like, I'm going to sit down and just take this moment in and just revel in what I've accomplished this week. And I'll never stop now. Never. I feel more in control of my life than I've ever had before, emotionally and mentally. And because of this, I've been able to put the energy towards writing my first novel, something I've been wanting to do since I was a teenager. But I've allowed my depression and my self-esteem to not allow me to do it. But I am, and I'm excited to do it. There's no self-doubt in any word I wrote. And I was able to find my father, who I never met in my life. And that was something I never thought I'd be able to do. I never thought I would ever want to do, but I had to, and I did. And all I can really say is, if you're done being alone in your world right now, and you're done being afraid of showing your emotions, and you're done being scared I'm more confident, but I don't feel like I need to be an asshole about it. I am willing to stand up and live up to the integrity that I hold in myself because of this course. And yeah, just you have to try it out to believe it. I know it's easy to be skeptical, especially because the world almost seems like it's saturated. But I feel so strongly in this that if you put in the work, if you're willing to allow yourself to do the journey, to go through the pain, to build yourself up so strongly in this, that it will give you the results you desire. You can overcome the traumas, overcome the fears, overcome everything that has been holding you down. You're watching this video right now, wanting that change. And you just have to believe, you have to take that step. You have to take that leap. We can go through all the analogies. You have to do it. You have the power. You have the strength. I am looking forward to any challenge that's coming my way. And I can just say that for anyone looking for this class, if you ever feel like you're alone, you're scared to really show and share your fears and to overcome them, you're not alone. There's so many guys out there who really are going through exactly what you're going through and are willing to hear, to listen, and to support you. And the guys in this group have been so fantastic. The journey we've all been through on our coaching calls have been just miraculous. Just seeing the changes, the developments, the successes, the failures, and the pushing of each other to do even better and better has been one of the most amazing things to watch, on top of the journey that I've been through myself. And truly, I'm so excited for any of you who decide to get on this course. And I recommend it. And I highly think it's going to just change your world. It's going to give you so many tools in your toolbox to overcome so many issues and challenges. And I'm looking forward to meeting you along the journey and supporting you.